You are cutting through Waterloo Station at 7:43 in the morning on a Tuesday that will not appear in any history book, and you are thinking about nothing. Not the gray coat on your back, or the badge in your pocket, or the phone you keep checking out of habit rather than need. You are thinking about nothing, which is something you have become very good at. Then you see the owl. It is tawny, enormous, blinking in a wooden cage, brass latched to a luggage trolley being pushed by a woman in a long coat the color of dried moss. The trolley wheels leave a short black scuff on the tile floor. The woman does not slow down. She walks directly at the brick wall between platforms 9 and 10, and the wall takes her. Not a door, not a gap. The brick opens like a held breath and closes again, and the morning crowd flows past without a flinch, phones up, eyes down, and you are standing completely still in the middle of the current with the black scuff mark at your feet and the absolute certainty that you just watched a wall eat a live owl. You should go to work. You have files to process, and a phone that rings on the hour, and a desk that has held the shape of your elbows for 3 years. You press your shoulder against the brick. You fall through. On the other side, the air smells of coal smoke and something warm, almost cinnamon, and the noise hits you first. A full platform roaring with families and trunks and birds and a scarlet steam engine so large it seems to push the sky back. Children in robes chase each other down the platform. A boy of perhaps 12 is levitating his trunk 3 feet off the ground without touching it. The Hogwarts Express breathes white steam in slow rolling clouds, and you stand at the threshold with your work bag hanging off one shoulder and your mouth open, and absolutely no one looks at you because you are dressed wrong for this world. And dressed wrong means invisible. And for one strange moment that feels like the most at home you have ever been, a hand closes around your elbow. She is perhaps 26, sharp-eyed, with a badge you cannot fully read pinned to a dark jacket. She steers you behind a stack of luggage with the practiced efficiency of someone who has done this before, which she has, which you will learn later is part of her job title. She holds a small device near your temple, something like a thermometer, but brass and clicking, and she watches it the way you watch a test result you did not expect. It clicks 7 times. She writes something with a self-inking quill in a narrow notebook and looks at you with an expression you cannot name yet, but will spend the next 3 weeks trying to. She tells you the wall has a passive charm. It is designed to repel muggles, her word, non-magical people, the category she is currently filing you under, except for the fact that you are standing here when you should not be. She says the device misfires occasionally. She says it with the tone of someone explaining a footnote. She does not obliviate you on the spot, which is the word for the memory-wiping charm she is legally empowered to perform, and which she absolutely should perform, and which she does not. That hesitation is a crack in a wall, and eventually it will let in everything. Diagon Alley smells of candle wax, and old parchment, and something from an apothecary window that you decide not to identify too closely. She takes you there to contain the situation, she says, which is ministry language for exposing you to the full depth of the thing she is already too late to hide. Gringotts Bank is white marble, staffed by goblins who count gold coins with fingers that move faster than arithmetic. A galleon is heavier than a pound coin. The Daily Prophet rotates its front page photograph on a loop, a wizard in robes waving at you from newsprint. A headline reads, "Ministry urges vigilance on Muggle boundary incidents." You are, technically, a Muggle boundary incident, and she winces slightly when you read it aloud. Your ordinary clothes mark you the way a paper cutout is marked when pasted into a painting. Everyone who looks at you looks twice. You feel both entirely wrong and, underneath that wrongness, something you have not felt in years. The sense that the world has a layer, and you have always suspected it, and here it is, warm and impossible, and smelling of cinnamon. The Ministry of Magic is accessed through a public toilet in Westminster, which feels like a joke until you are standing in a marble atrium the size of an airport terminal. Fireplaces, blazing green along the walls, witches and wizards in robes crossing the floor in every direction. 3 officials interview you in a room with no windows. They are warm in the professional way, the way that means the warmth is a procedure. They explain your options with the cadence of people reading from a manual. Option 1, Obliviation. Standard memory charm, targeted, clean. You return to your Tuesday, slightly confused about why you took an unusual route to work. Option 2, Muggle aware, Subclass 3, a classified designation for non-magical individuals whose exposure has exceeded the safe obliviation threshold. You will be monitored, annually reviewed, and free to remember everything. You ask what exceeding the threshold means exactly. They exchange a look, and in that look is the whole truth, but you do not read it yet. You choose option 2. You trust that an institution this large and this old has built itself around rules that protect the people inside it. You believe this the way you believe in a lot of things, quietly and without examining it too closely. 3 weeks follow that feel like a different life. Your liaison, the sharp-eyed woman from the platform, becomes something between a guide and a handler, and you choose, deliberately, to see the former. You eat at the Leaky Cauldron. You sit in the visitors' gallery at the Wizengamot and watch a case unfold in a circular chamber lit by floating candles. You read about the Statute of Secrecy, a 1692 international accord requiring the concealment of magic from non-magical populations. You learn about Muggleborns, people born without magical parents who manifest magic anyway. And when you ask about the history, there your liaison says complicated in a tone that means ugly, and you file that away without pulling on the thread because you are happy, and happiness makes cowards of careful people. The house elves you do not ask enough questions about. You file a request through proper channels to access your own ministry file. The form takes 4 days to process. What returns is a document with thick black redactions across most of its body, but one section has been left visible. A clerical error, or something that looks like one. Under Muggle Aware, Subclass 3, the file reads, Subject retains full memory. Recommended disposition, annual review. If subject becomes disruptive or publicly communicative, escalate to Obliviation or Containment Protocol 7. You read it twice. You look up Containment Protocol 7 in the index. There is no index entry. When you ask your liaison, she goes quiet in a way that is its own answer. Later, off record, in the corner of a pub where the firelight is low and no one is close enough to hear, she tells you the rest. The unusual neurological magical signature the device registered means nothing. The device misfires sometimes. They waited too long to obliviate you simply because the paperwork took longer than your exposure did, and now the standard charm is insufficient. Containment Protocol 7 is a deep memory modification, more invasive than anything routine. It rebuilds a cover story for the missing weeks. Some subjects describe the aftermath as a persistent, low-grade grief they cannot locate the source of. The feeling of mourning, something they cannot name. The committee has not signed off yet. Sign-off is scheduled for Friday. Today is Wednesday. You go back to the ministry on Wednesday night. Not to plead. You write a formal objection under a statute your liaison mentioned once, offhand, noting that a Muggle-aware subject retains the right to contest their disposition before the Wizengamot. It is an obscure clause. It exists in the law because someone, a very long time ago, thought it should. You write 3 pages in longhand with a self-inking quill your liaison left at your table, and you make 3 copies, and you file all 3. The clerk looks at you for a long moment over her glasses, then she stamps each copy. The sound is very loud in the empty corridor. The Wizengamot convenes a small session. You stand in the center of the circular chamber that made you feel like a guest the first time you saw it, and now makes you feel like a specimen. No legal representation, no magic. You have 3 pages about why your memory belongs to you, and why potentially disruptive is not a legal standard in any civilization serious about what it claims to be. You speak for 9 minutes. You do not shake. They deliberate for 11. The ruling comes back modified. No containment protocol. Muggle aware. Subclass 3 retained. Annual review. Permanent monitoring. A binding legal prohibition against communicating knowledge of the wizarding world to any non-registered Muggle by any means. Violation means immediate obliviation. No appeal, but your memories stay yours. The vote was 5-4. You won by 1. Your liaison is in the gallery. She is crying, quietly, and you cannot tell from where you are standing whether it is relief or something more complicated, and you think the honest answer is that it is both, and that both is the most human response to a situation like this one. You walk out of the ministry into a London evening. Buses, pigeons, people staring at phones. The city has not moved an inch. You are standing in the middle of it, holding 3 weeks of the most extraordinary thing you have ever seen, and you cannot tell a single person, not your neighbor, not anyone you have ever known. You won the right to remember a world you are legally forbidden to share, which means you are more alone inside your knowledge than you ever were inside your ignorance. You traded the loneliness of not knowing for the loneliness of knowing everything and being permitted to say nothing. You sit on a bench in a park that evening. A tawny owl lands on the iron railing 3 feet away, large, brass-eyed, impossible in the gray London light. It holds your gaze for exactly 4 seconds. Then it lifts off without a sound and disappears into the sky above the city, and you watch it go, and you do not tell anyone. Somewhere right now, there are people who know things the rest of us haven't been cleared for, and most of them didn't apply for the knowledge. They just walked through the wrong wall. If you want to see more,